If you're going on a cruise for the first time, you're probably wondering about the cruise food. How does dining work? What food is included? And what are the tips and tricks you need to know? Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, if you're a first-time cruiser, this video is for you. It is part of my series called Cruising 101 with all of the cruise basics and more that you are going to want to know before you go on a cruise. However, if you are an avid cruiser, you've noticed that cruise dining has changed in recent years, so there is some information that I think will be handy for you as well. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention two things. Firstly, if you've been on a cruise before, add your own tips and tricks below. It will definitely be helpful to other people. And if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, I have about 30 tips, tricks, and things that you'll want to know about cruise ship dining in this video, but let's start with the basics. What dining options are available on a cruise? Well, basically you have 5 different dining options that are available. You have the main dining room, which is always included. You have the buffet, and sometimes it is a food hall concept instead of a buffet. On newer cruise ships, you have casual dining. Now, casual dining can include cafes, can include pizza and burgers and other casual fast food options. You have room service, and as well, you have specialty dining that does have an additional charge. The main dining room. Now, the main dining room is open for dinner every evening, but something that a lot of people aren't aware of is that the dining room is not only open for dinner each evening, but it is often open for breakfast, for brunch sometimes, and for lunch, in particular on sea days. Now, I will share a little bit more about some of the menu items that you can expect for the different meal times a little bit later in the video. Dining times in the evening. Now, most cruise lines are going to give you the option of 2 different kinds of dining times. One of them is fixed dining times or traditional dining, and you can choose early or late, and usually you're going to have the same table and the same waiter and even the same table mates. Now, the other option is to have open dining, and open dining is really either 2 things. Either it's walk-in, however, you are going to have to wait a little bit sometimes, and the other option still within an open dining is a reservation system. Now, when it comes to the reservations, even though you have open dining, the benefit is that you can choose different dining times depending on what your plans are for that cruise. So if you do have a show one evening, or if you have some special plans in a cruise port of call, you can choose to eat earlier one evening and later another. Now, I do have a little tip for you. If you have a dining time and you do want to change it, what you can do is you can simply talk to the maitre d', and then oftentimes they are going to be able to accommodate you for a different time. Now, the best thing is to not do this right at dinner time, but to do this in the mid to later part of the afternoon. Request the same waiter every night. Now, if you have a really good experience the first night of your cruise when you have open dining, it's a good idea to request the same waiter for the other nights of your cruise. Oftentimes they are able to reserve a table, or at least a table within that section. Now, I have a few more tips about the main dining room, and then we're going to move on to the other dining or food options on a cruise. Cruise line dress codes. Now, cruise line dress codes do still exist in the main dining room and some of the restaurants on a cruise ship. Now, some are more casual than others, but something that you can expect is that there is a smart casual, a casual, and a dressy or formal night dress code. Now, typically in the past, people would really dress up for formal nights. Now we are seeing that people are becoming much more casual. You definitely still have people that could dress in a tuxedo and an evening gown, but other people may be wearing dress pants and a dress shirt, or maybe a suit, or even something a little bit more casual than that. And for ladies, it may be a little black dress, or a cocktail dress, or even a summer dress. Now, although most cruise lines aren't enforcing the dress codes the way they used to, they're more like suggestions, it seems, these days. I do have a tip, and it's very important for especially the men. Something that you want to do is bring at least 1 pair of pants. That pair of pants can often be a pair of nice jeans and a shirt with a collar. A polo shirt is fine, but some restaurants, even on casual cruise lines, are going to require pants and a collared shirt. And yes, there are some that are turning people away for wearing shorts even today. The menu in the main dining room. Now, when it comes to the menu in the main dining room, there are a lot of choices. Oftentimes, you're going to have choices that are going to change each evening, as well as a few staples that are there every day. So some of the basics like pasta, salmon, a chicken dish, for instance. Now, something that you can do, and yes, you can still do this, is you can order multiple menu items and you can try different things. It's not uncommon for a table to order several different appetizers and even to share, or for people to order 2 entrees, or even something that you can do is ask to combine 2 different plates. Now, cruise lines don't want passengers wasting a lot of food, so it does make sense that they are trying to discourage this. Now, some cruise lines are going to have limits on how many entrees you can order additionally. Carnival, for instance, allows people to order 2 entrees or main dishes, and after that, there is a $5 charge. We were on an MSC cruise recently, and we did notice on the menu that it did say there was a $5 additional charge for an additional main dish. However, we were not charged, and we had heard of other people ordering an additional main dish as well. Sometimes what we do is we order 1 extra main dish, put it in the middle, and we all try that and share. And by the way, when it comes to desserts, there is no limit, so order what you like. Extra charge items. Now, there are some extra charge items on menus that weren't there even a couple of years ago. As an example, on some cruise lines, you're going to have lobster tails that do have an additional charge. And in other cases, you do have, for instance, on formal or chic night, you have a lobster dish that could be available, or a lobster tail, I should say. But if you want an additional one, there is an extra charge. Order a cheese plate. Now, this is a little bit of a cruise hack that I've shared before just because I really do like cheese. But something that you can do in the main dining room is oftentimes on the dessert menu, but you may not have seen it already, is there could be a cheese plate that is available there. So you can simply ask. The worst that can happen is that they're going to say no. But in our experience, cheese plates are often available. Dine at your own pace. Now, in some cases, cruise lines, when you do reserve your dining time, will actually ask, what pace do you want to dine at? Do you want to dine at a slow pace, at a faster pace? But in other cases, and most of the time, they're not going to ask that, but you can let your waiter know that. So sometimes people say, oh my goodness, I don't want to sit for 2 hours or more in the main dining room. You do not have to. You can simply let your waiter know that you are in a little bit of a rush, and they will be able to speed things up. Now, in particular, if you do have a show to catch, let them know. If you need to be out by 9 p.m. or by 8:15 p.m., let them know. Now, by the way, if you're getting ready for a cruise and you want to make sure that you do not forget a thing, I do have the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner. Now, the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner is a 47-page downloadable printable cruise planner that will help you to keep organized from the time that you book your cruise all the way through disembarkation. Now, it includes cruise packing lists, cruise shore excursion planning forms, cruise countdown lists, cruise embarkation forms, and more. And you can print out only the pages that you need for as many cruises as you go on. Now, I'll leave all of the information about the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner linked down below in the description of this video in case you do want to check that out. Food allergies and dietary restrictions. Now, cruise lines actually take this very seriously, and food allergies in particular, they even have a section of their kitchen where all items are prepared separately. But something that you are going to want to do is make sure that this is noted on your booking. Now, when you're on the cruise ship, you can go speak to the maitre d', but as well, even if you have a dietary requirement, for instance, if you're gluten-free, you are going to find on the menu, oftentimes you're going to see vegetarian symbols or vegan symbols. So you'll see different symbols, but cruise lines now, many of them are actually creating separate menus for passengers that are vegan, for passengers that are gluten-free. And as an example, Carnival recently shared some sample gluten-free menus that look absolutely wonderful. Now, something that you should do is simply ask your server. Now, if you have any experience in this, if you have any dietary requirements, please share your experiences down in the comments below. Speaking of the servers, ask for your server's recommendations. Now, oftentimes we've found by asking our waiter, they've been able to tell us what are the dishes that people are most enjoying, what are the dishes that maybe the chefs, it really is their specialty. And we've often gotten some great recommendations that we may not have thought of trying otherwise. Bring your own wine. Did you know that cruises are actually, most of the time, a bring your own wine environment? Now, there are limitations. Typically, most cruise lines are going to allow guests to bring 1 bottle of wine per adult onto the cruise on embarkation day. but you can actually bring your own wine and bring it to the main dining room. Now, beware, there is going to be a corkage fee if you do that of approximately $15, but that is only once, and after you start the bottle of wine, if you have wine left over, you can actually continue to drink that. It will be stored for you in the dining room for other evening. Afternoon tea. Now, I think afternoon tea might be the best kept secret. Now, some cruise lines, not all, but many cruise lines are going to serve afternoon tea around 3 o'clock in the main dining room. So those include Cunard, Princess, Holland America, Viking. You can have your tea, you can have scones, you can have little sandwiches, pastries in a really elegant environment. Afternoon snack. Now, don't worry if you are not on a cruise line that has afternoon tea. Instead, in the buffet, there is going to be afternoon snacks. Now, there's food all the time, but typically around 3 p.m., there are some really good snacks. So it could be nachos and chips with homemade salsa and guacamole. And there are typically going to be a variety of pastries and cakes as well. Sea day brunches. Now, speaking of best kept secrets, some cruise lines have a sea day brunch. Now, in particular, if you are sailing with Carnival, going to the sea day brunch is something you absolutely have to do. I think it's a must. It is so good. But as well, we were recently on an MSC cruise and they were trying out something a little bit new. So do check if you are on an MSC cruise. Look for what they call a tour de brunch with a really nice breakfast and international lunch menu. Now we're going to talk about the buffet and some other casual options in just a minute, but I did want to mention the main dining room when it comes to breakfast and lunch as well. Now, breakfast is served in the main dining room. I think it's pretty much every day across all cruise lines, so do check that out, but beware of the hours. Sometimes we found that it ended a little bit earlier than we thought, like at about 9 a.m. Now, there still is breakfast available in other places, including the buffet, but I did want to mention this if you like that sit down option. Now as well, there are lunches that are available in the main dining room. And this is something really nice, in particular on sea days where there often is a nice, casual, and pretty quick service and menu. How do you know what food options are available on your cruise ship? Now this is something really important because a lot of people make this mistake, not knowing what is included and what are some of the even casual restaurants that are included on your cruise. Now something that you'll want to do is take a look on your cruise planner. You're going to have a section where it is going to let you know the different venues that are open, if there are any additional charges. Now you can take a look on the paper planner, or as well you'll have this information on the cruise line app. Now we're going to talk about the buffet, specialty dining, and other casual options. But first, I did want to talk about room service because I think a lot of people don't know about this little tip. Now, years ago, room service was free across pretty much all cruise lines, but in recent years, some cruise lines have begun charging for room service. But most cruise lines, and a lot of people don't know this, still do have complimentary room service available for breakfast. So do check that out. And if that is available, you can still get coffee, you can get tea, you can get juice, you can get some pastries, you can get a fruit plate. You can get that delivered within certain hours for free to your cabin. Now, something we like to do is use room service as a little bit of a wake-up call. So that's a little bit of a hack, if you will, is that you could order room service and have them deliver for, let's say, 6:30 or 7 a.m. maybe if you want to get up early. And this way you will have coffee or your tea and maybe a fruit plate to get ready with. Breakfast on your balcony. Now this might just be something that you want to do, is order room service, and in some cases room service breakfast is included, even more of a full breakfast, but you can order room service to your cabin and you can enjoy a wonderful breakfast on your balcony at sea. Bringing food back to your cabin to eat. Now this is a question that comes up often. Can I bring food back from the buffet, or can I bring food even to go from the main dining room? So basically there aren't going to be any to-go boxes, but something that you can do, for instance, if you're not feeling well one evening, is that the main dining room will actually prepare you food to bring back to your cabin. So if you want to do that, you can. But the other thing that some people will do, especially when it comes to the buffet in particular, is they may bring a small Tupperware style container or even some Ziploc baggies. Now I don't suggest you do this from the buffet, but maybe take items on your plate, bring them back to a table, and you could put crackers or cookies or even some fruit, even a piece of cake or something like that. You could prepare it, put it into your little Tupperware style container, and you can bring it back to your cabin, put it into the little fridge, and save it for later. Eating in the cruise ship buffet. Now, I think cruise buffets have gotten a bad rap for years, but truthfully, I think that these days many cruise ships actually have a really good buffet with a lot of choices, including international style choices, wonderful salad stations, dessert stations, crepe stations, and more. Now, you can not only eat breakfast, lunch, snacks in the buffet, but you can actually eat dinner there. And while I still like to eat a sit-down meal in the main dining room, I have to say there are times that you may want to eat in the buffet. Maybe it is more convenient to do that one evening. Maybe you've had a long day in a cruise port of call. Maybe not everybody in your party wants to eat at the same time. And I think that you're going to find that the buffet or the eatery is a really good choice. Now, I do have one time that I think if it's possible, you may want to skip the buffet, and this is on embarkation day. Now, on embarkation day, most people are going to swarm the buffet for lunch or a late lunch. So if you can find an alternative venue, you're just going to find it much less crowded. So you can go eat at a cafe, you can go eat and have a poolside burger, for instance, at Guy's Burger on Carnival or at Dive In on Holland America. You can go have poolside pizza or even eat in the main dining room, which is often open, or in a specialty restaurant. Casual dining. So when it comes to casual dining, there is a lot that is available on most cruise ships. So something that you are going to want to look out for is the included pizza. Now, oftentimes that is going to be poolside, but sometimes you're going to find that within the buffet, or you may find that along the promenade on Royal Caribbean cruise ships. Now, by the way, if you're on a Princess cruise ship, while there is a casual restaurant, it's either Alfredo's or Gigi's on certain Princess ships, and that does have an additional charge. They do have some amazing free or included pizza that is available poolside. And if you're on a Virgin Voyages cruise ship, go check out their pizza. Not only is it fabulous, it's available in to-go boxes. The cafes. Now, many cruise ships do have cafes, and unfortunately, a lot of times first-time cruisers do think that there's an extra charge for this, and perhaps it's because the coffees themselves, like all the specialty coffees and teas, there is an additional charge for this. If you have a beverage package, this is something to look into because oftentimes they are included. But in any case, the pastries, the sandwiches, all of the different items that are available at the cafe, those are typically included. Now, other food that is included on a cruise includes soft ice cream. You'll often have soft ice cream stations. And keep an eye out for special food-focused events. This could be a poolside barbecue, this could be a chocolate buffet on a sea day, or even in the buffet, oftentimes in the evening time, there is going to be a certain international menu. So for instance, it could be Italian night with a lot of different Italian dishes, or it could be German night or even seafood night. So do keep an eye on that. Specialty restaurants. Now, while there is so much food that is included on a cruise, and you do not need to feel like you have to pay anything extra, if you do want to go to a specialty restaurant, there are some ways that you can save a little bit of money. Now, one of those ways is to go on night one of your cruise. Now, many cruise lines are going to have a special price or promotion for the first night of the cruise. It could be a discount, or it could be even getting a free bottle of wine. Now, you'll also want to look out for any pre-cruise specials or promotions. So keep an eye on your cruise planner. You can get 20% or more off your dining. Now, don't forget to look for bundles of multi-restaurants that are going to be even cheaper, and perks as you book your cruise. So as an example, Norwegian Cruise Line's Free at Sea does offer specialty dining, a couple of restaurants within that package, and you have the same thing with Princess Premier that does include specialty dining as well. Exclusive dining rooms. Now, if you are booked in certain categories of cabins, now typically these are going to be suites, or these are going to be a spa class cabin. Now, oftentimes there is going to be a separate dining room that is not only going to have enhanced service, but is going to have additional menu items as well. Healthy options and choices. Now, cruises are definitely places where you can eat a lot of decadent things and you can gain a lot of weight. Definitely, it's not that hard to do that. But there are a lot of healthy options as well, especially these days. So you can definitely find lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. So even after dinner, if you want to skip a high calorie dessert and instead you want a fruit plate or you want some sorbet, this is something you simply need to ask for. I have a few frequently asked questions that come up that you might be wondering about. Do I need to share a table with strangers on a cruise? Now, this was definitely like this several years ago, but nowadays you do have choices. So oftentimes you can find a table on your own if you want to eat just 2 people, or solo, or with just your family. And oftentimes you have the option to share with other people as well. Now, if you've been on a cruise and you have a preference, please let me know down in the comments below. Is the buffet open 24/7? Now, most cruise ships don't have the buffet open 24/7, but there are going to be some late night options. This is going to vary cruise ship by cruise ship, but if you're sailing on a Norwegian cruise ship, you are going to have Oceans that is open. I think it's pretty close to 24/7. It may not be completely, but it is open very late. You're going to have also on Princess cruise ships and Royal Caribbean cruise ships, you're going to have a cafe that is open. You're going to have late night options on Carnival, and otherwise you do always have room service that you can order. However, be aware that there is usually a late night fee. Can I bring food on a cruise? Now, you might wonder, why would you bring food on a cruise? But one thing that is not readily available on cruise ships are those kind of snacky foods like chips and candies and maybe chocolate bars. You can definitely buy that in the convenience store, but it is going to be pricey. So if you think you sometimes like to snack on that kind of food in your cabin or anything like that, then that is something that you can bring on board with you either on embarkation day or packed in your luggage. Now, I'll leave all of the information about the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner linked down below in the description of this video, as well as the other videos that are part of the Cruising 101 series. So that's Cruise Essentials, that's Boarding Day, and more. And I would love to hear from you. Please let me know your tips, your tricks, your questions about dining on a cruise down in the comments below. Now, I hope that this video was helpful and that you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now and happy cruising.